Hi, we are Team-O-Shenko, and we are here to present our beam for the Big Beam competition. My name is Robert Rising.
My name is Kevin Conley.
And I'm Christopher Silent.
So a little bit of background on our design. After several different design attempts, we came up with this custom inverted T design that utilizes three 1/2 inch 7-wire pre-stressing strands and two compressive steel that's really more for holding the stirrups in place while the concrete is being poured. Several designs went before we got this, just to make sure we were within the capabilities of FinFrock, as well as it wasn't going to be over and beyond what the cost should be. Try to keep the costs at a minimum.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the shear design. We made use of alternating hooks, which are just stirrups that you switch directionally. So instead of looping over this piece of top steel, it'll loop over that one and go the opposite way. So for the anchorage zone, we put a tighter spacing. We had them spaced at 7 inches, and we had 3 of those leading into our normal spacing of 9 inches, where we have 11 of those. So that makes 14 on each side of the 11-inch spacing in the center. The 11-inch spacing, we didn't put any stirrups there because there's no need for shear reinforcement at the center. We added 2 lifting loops out of number 3 bars, bent around just for the sake of moving it because it's standard practice. Right.
So for the cost estimation, we used BCI Big Beam contest guidelines to come up with our item costs. In this design, we used normal weight concrete at $100 per cubic yard. And as previously stated, we used 1/2 inch 7-wire strands for our pre-stressing tendons and A615 steel for our reinforcement. So our total cost for our concrete was $90. For the pre-stressing strands, our cost was about $18, and our reinforcing steel cost about $16.41. Overall, the most costly item was our formwork, which came out to be $345.83 for a total cost for the entire beam of $470.27. Now for this beam, these costs are variable. A final design with FinFrock's concrete and their steel will give us the actual cost. So for this project, I deepened my understanding of reinforced concrete and learned how we design, fabricate, and implement a pre-stressed beam. Additionally, I found the shear and anchorage zone reinforcement to be of particular interest to prevent bursting cracks. And it was very interesting to see some of the typical costs and industry practices for pre-stressed beams and pre-stressed products.
So from this course, again, I built upon my knowledge from reinforcing steel in my undergrad as well as the advanced course here in grad school. And building upon this knowledge, I found it interesting, the design for the pre-stressing tendons and the anchor zone, because these were things we didn't get into in the undergrad course. And designing these and seeing how many factors can change a design was interesting for me.
So from this project, I built upon what I had learned in advanced concrete structures with Dr. Yoon, and we learned how we could make use of all of the concrete that we used to neglect under the neutral axis by keeping all the fibers in compression using pre-stressing strands. And I learned of the several loading conditions, which I think was very eye-opening. A lot of engineers get caught up looking at final designs instead of worrying about intermittent stages. And the pre-stress losses were also important because they could lead to you having an under-designed beam in the real world, which you want to avoid at all costs. So thank you guys.